Morning as well.
Yeah, came on a little early, so. Oh, does it make sense to include not just the link to the Zoom, but also to the board, Jira board?
The Jira board detailing the tickets that will be discussed, or just the current Jira board?
Overall, I mean, certainly the link of, if we have a list of which tickets are going to be discussed, that helps too, but just so I can just have a single click and be able to see where we are.
Okay, all right. I'll do that on the next call. I don't think we're going to be discussing tickets this call though.
Okay.
I think it's just more of a mapping the next month forward thing.
I did wonder about where we were at in regards to testing, and I found at least a few things which I'm not sure we'd reported before. I don't think. Well, one of them, I think it would be an MVP issue. All the rest, I don't think so. But maybe you can explain why, when I look at OCL, I don't the custom concepts in the collection. So if I created concepts in the OpenMRS module, I would have thought that I would have seen them in that dictionary in OCL.
Yeah, I think you're right. That sounds like that's what should be happening. I think let me try that and see. Oh no, okay, so so you added them to the collection, right? Not to the source.
Well, on the OpenMRS side, right? So it's a dictionary.
Okay, so let me just jump there and try that.
Let's see, I've got 4 custom concepts. They're still in my dictionary.
Yeah. Let's see, public access. Okay, English. So I've just tried, let me share my screen.
Okay.
Right, so I've just created one. Let's jump back to.
Are you on which?
QA.
You're on QA. Okay, I'm on demo.
Why are you using the demo? What was this also pointing to demo, the live deployment? This.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try from demo. Okay.
Well, if you just click on my name down there.
Okay. This one.
Either one, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Concepts in there. There's 4 concepts in there.
Is it this one?
Yep. So it should say four custom concepts. Oh, I get it. I clicked on the release version. Oh, no. Okay, I just realized it. So if I click on the link above it, browse in traditional OCL, that's probably where it's going to be.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Cynthia.
Hello, Cynthia.
Yep, that was the problem. Of course. Okay. All right. I just realized I clicked on the wrong link.
All right, cool.
Yep.
So Cynthia, I believe you be leading this meeting. I don't know if you should give other folks some time to come, or shall we start?
I give them a couple more minutes. Oh, but I guess I just realized something though. When I clicked on download.
Yes.
No, got it. Okay. No, now I get it. For some reason, I thought I actually was seeing it on the download file, the customs on the download for the released version, but now I see there's no way to know when that was actually released. But okay, it looks fine.
I guess, yeah, we'll wait maybe a few minutes before we get started. But I think before we start, I'd like to know from the team how you have arranged yourselves, who is the lead, and I will need your email addresses for follow-up. And then we can then discuss next steps on how we structure the activities moving forward. I noticed that you have already you continue to do your work, so that's okay, but I'd like to have a bit more visibility into like where you are having, when you are working, if there are any issues and when you need to get stuff merged and those things, so that if Daniel is busy, I can assist and facilitate that to be expedited. So I'd like Lincoln, if you can just tell me how you have structured your team, and who is the lead, so that we move forward.
Okay, great. So we expect to continue using the previous structure we had on the largely. The difference is that I am the only person who is on full time. Paul, Alex, and Dan they will be contributing, but not as full time. They won't be doing this full time. So that therefore makes me the lead, since I'm the only full time person. I had spoken to Tunmis. He said he might start contributing as well this week, but I've not heard from. Okay, yeah. So he had said he had gotten a bit busy last week, so I had thought we'd have an extra pair of hands, but he hasn't yet begun contributing yet. So
as it stands now, there's yourself, who is full-time.
Yeah.
Then there's who else? There's Paul Kayogo, who is on the call here today.
Yes.
And then, who else?
And then Alex Kayabula, and then Duncan Uluma. Basically, the last 4 people who are on the project.
Okay.
I can send you an email later on.
Yes, so send me an email with the details of the individuals who are in the team.
Okay.
And then in terms of the approach that you are using, you are continuing with the same, the same way that you've been on doing it currently, which is fixing the bugs as they come in. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
When
Then
then
okay.
when there are no immediate bugs, then we pick something which was it's sort of in the middle of MVP and MVP plus.
Okay. So now, are you opening like a Jira board for the testing, or you are just using the same Jira board for OCL? How do we know one is meant for bug fixing, or which ones are the tickets being created for bug fixing specifically, and those that are for MVP or for post MVP?
Okay, so I created a new Jira board at the beginning of this week on Monday. That's going on for 2 weeks. So it will expire at the end of next week.
Where's the Jira board?
It should be the same thing as, let me just.
The one that I'm looking at currently.
Sprint 22.
Sprint 22. Is this this is the current working dashboard? Sorry, Jira board you're using.
Yes.
Okay.
The issues that are post MVP are labeled as fixed version 1.1.
Okay.
Yeah, and then whether or not an issue is a bug can just be seen by its by its issue type. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, so we will meet every week on Wednesday to share the updates, and then do you still maintain the standing calls at the end of the week on Friday?
Standing calls with who?
I understand you used to have calls around this same time on a Friday evening, or you used to meet twice?
No.
Or is
No, we shifted it to Wednesday, and no, we'll not be meeting on Friday.
Pardon?
We have, so are you talking about like by ourselves or with the community?
With the community.
No.
Or is it that the meeting that was on Friday is what has been moved to the Wednesday slot?
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So these are meant to be the kind of sprint reviews, but sort of interim ones.
Yeah.
We were syncing up. I don't know if there's a need for the dev team alone to be having stand-ups.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think I don't want it to be too much overkill. That's why I am trying to understand what's the best way of going about it. But I think meeting once a week is okay. We already have a structure that Darius has created. So what we will do is just beef up that structure and then move it, monitor what is happening with the structure that has been created. Darius is here, so I think I'll just pack what we are discussing till the end of the call. Hi, Darius. Good morning.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, so Lincoln, I think we can continue with what you were discussing, and then towards the end we will just talk about next steps and structuring and all those things.
Okay, so I don't think that there's any particular ticket that that is going to be presented this week. Just a second. Name. Okay, so apart from I don't know if you guys had a chance to test the search, Andy. The partial search, like for both words.
Yeah, I think I did test that, and let me just do that again just to be sure. There's been a build since then, but
yeah. So I mean, apart from aside from that,
yes, it's working.
Yeah, there's no major ticket that I need to present this week. I do have a few questions though that we came up with during the week. So the first is in regards to language, Darius, you had mentioned on the scenario testing sheet something about the language not being, like it's supporting another, like other default languages. So basically the question here is, apart from, so let me just share my screen. Hope you guys can see that. So apart from, so ideally, if my local is like default French, this should be French by default, right?
Correct, and meaning the language of the dictionary, not of the logged in user.
Yes.
Right. So if the dictionary's locale is default locale is French, then yeah, that field should default to French.
Okay. So
and I think.
Is there any other point apart from like names and descriptions where the language, like at this point in the application?
I think that's the only place that it matters for MVP. The other thing I just realized as you're showing this is it probably ought to be the case that the drop down for languages only shows the ones that are supported for the dictionary. Like instead of being a search for all the languages that there are, that ought to be just the one, the ones in the dictionary. But that can be post MVP.
Actually, that ticket is already up. You had mentioned this a while back.
Okay.
But it's post MVP. Okay, so the other question was page. Okay, so this one is going to need a bit more.
Can we go back to that for a second? So that's for creating concepts, custom concepts, right? But I guess what happens if you bring in a CL concept that has multiple languages into a dictionary that only has, English or English and French? What is the?
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't lose them. You might. So yeah. So I think that display would need to be smart. I mean, basically, well, actually, for display purposes, all names should be displayed. It's just when creating a new concept or editing one, you should only be able to do the supported languages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And technically, if for some reason, but yeah.
I'll add that context, the detail, to the ticket as well. Yeah, that's important.
And while we're there, I think there was a specific bug I had reported before, which I think may be MVP plus, which was that when you add a name or description, well, it's our name anyway, the type should default to fully specified, and that future name should default to synonym. I'm not quite sure why we're just leaving those blank all the time.
Meaning like the first row, I mean, you could say there's like the first row in the table. I mean, technically it should be, if there's no fully specified one yet, it should be fully specified. And if there's already a fully specified one, it should be synonym.
Correct, unless they overwrite. But it's an extra click every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so two things. So the first is, sorry, let me just share my screen again. Okay, so you're saying the first time I get here, this should already have fully specified, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then so I guess for the dynamically changing them in the future, that will be post MVP, but
well, what happens if, I mean, you can't add it, right? If it won't let you add it if you don't specify something in that field.
No, it won't.
Yeah. So since it has to be fully every concept has to have a fully specified name. It seems like that should be the default.
Yeah, I think it's the rule. But then if you have two fully specified names, I guess it'll save you one click. Yeah. The rules get more complicated too because it's one fully specified name per language, and at least one language has to have a fully specified name. I mean, the full set of rules is complicated, and we don't want to replicate them all. So, I mean, personally, I'm fine leaving it blank as default. But if Andy thinks it's better to default to fully specified, always, then
Well, I said it should be fully specified if it's nothing, and that if there's one
Right.
already there, it should default.
right. No, and so that I think is post MVP.
Yep,
But I agree that that's how it should work.
yep, that I
Yes.
agree. Also post MVP.
Okay. We can stop it. Okay, so for this one. Okay, so when we are doing the input from okay, so say from CL, we currently limit the number of levels to recurse at 3. So we have a situation where the last concepts that are added with their mappings, but sometimes sometimes that last level of concepts does have mappings. So if you add that concept with its mappings, you find that those mappings concepts have not been added to the collection. I don't know if I'm making sense, guys.
But when you say you recurse 3 levels, I would assume that should mean 3 levels of like 1 level equals a concept and all its mappings.
That is correct. Yes.
And then the next level would be you follow the set member and question answer links.
Yes.
And then
correct.
you add a concept and all its mappings.
Yes.
And then the third level would be you follow those again. So increase the levels to 5 or something. I think we just don't want it to be, we don't want, if someone creates a dictionary with infinite loops, we don't want to completely fail on that. But we also, 3 was an arbitrary choice. So I think set it to 5.
Because I'm trying to figure out, how possible is it for someone to have, for concepts to have, I guess it's quite possible. So first, to have a concept with mappings, and its mappings are mapping all the way through 5 levels. Would that be a possibility?
When you say mappings, we're talking specifically about the sets and question answers. Is that right?
No, I'm talking about all mappings. We bring in all the mappings. Answers.
But you don't recurse. You only recurse on the question answers and set members, right?
No. We recurse on all mappings.
So do you know of an example of one of these in the CL dictionary? Just where something has a mapping to, I see. So is that right? Is that the right behavior, Andy? Are there things in CL that map to?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. So the purpose of the recursion, right, is that the concepts are being utilized in OpenMRS UI somewhere, and therefore, if you bring in the concept, you need to bring in all of its pieces. Mappings, I don't actually know of a reason why I would need to have dependencies on mappings. We already don't have them for external maps. And I'm not sure what we get more than the link back to the CL concept for.
What happens if a concept in CL has a mapping, the same as mapping to an AMPath code? Those AMPath, that's external.
That's
the same for PIH. Those are external. So
I guess what the issue is that
what is an internal mapping that's not Q&A or set member? I'm just unclear on when we would ever see that situation in real life with the CL dictionary.
Okay, so let me look for an example concept.
I guess the question is if we're bringing even if there's a CL has a map to another CL concept, let's say, and we're bringing that concept in as the target of a map, to not have it actually match the concept that comes from CL because we didn't carry through all the other pieces of it, that does seem a little odd because
it's probably correct. It's correct that any internal mappings should be recursed on. I guess it would. it's better to do that. Maybe we don't need to do that, but we'd have to really think it through to be sure it's safe to not do it, but it's definitely safe to do it. If you bring all internal
I think
mapping.
that's what he was saying, though. I think for all the maps that are internal, we recurse them as well as the ones that aren't a set or question and answer internal map.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And then I don't think it's okay. You don't need to, Lincoln, you don't need to look for an example of that. I mean, if you found one, great, but yes.
Okay. So, yes. Okay. So the question still stands. Realistically, can we go past 5 level? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the level to 5 and see if no.
Is there any place where there are configuration settings in the application?
Yes.
Like
that's
as in
location.
As in, so basically we've set it to 5, and if someone reports like an error at some point with this, we can just, change the configuration to 6 without needing code changes or something.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
But I don't know if that's okay. Or if it's just coded in one place, it's fine. We can change the code. But to answer your question, why 5? It's arbitrary. It's just it's definitely the case that you have like a set of other sets in some cases. And you might imagine that you have a set of sets, and the leaves of that are actually questions that have answers.
Yeah.
So the parent has children, that child has other children, and those have answers. So that's actually 4 levels. And I think that's probably the 95% use case. You're not going to go deeper than those 4 levels. 5 seems like, well, maybe there's some scenario where there's just something weird, and so you have 5.
Okay, so
that's where I came up with the number. I guess there's nothing wrong with setting it to 6.
Okay, so
if it changes the speed, I don't know if it'll change the speed.
Yeah, it will. Okay, so depending on, so for most concepts it will not. But if a concept does have 6 levels, then yeah, it will take longer because we're being the extra.
Right. I mean, it will take longer, but it'll actually do the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so
that sounds like the correct trade-off.
Now let's set it to 6. But I also want you guys to be aware of the potential problem there. That is, if we cut it off at a point where there are some mappings left, then when someone is trying to import the collection later, those mappings will be missing, and then it will complain. Sorry, those concepts, like the 2 concepts in the mappings, will be missing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that makes sense. I think we're aware of that. It would be ideal if it were like a configuration setting, but we can certainly live with it. Like we know, and actually come to think of it, there's no reason not to set it to something like 10, right? What we're specifically trying to guard against is like an infinite loop in some future scenario, because Andy probably doesn't have any of these examples. Like in CL, I would be very surprised if there are any infinite loops.
Okay. All right. Cool. So the last question is to do with the view concept. So basically the question was, do we make this a preview, like a sort of pop-up, like how it is on the add seal concepts page, or would you guys prefer if it's a whole other page?
So this is previewing a seal concept, or? Yeah, I think that what we're talking about is once you have your dictionary and it has concepts in it.
Exactly.
Right now, it's grayed out. But so now there's a view in traditional OCL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would prefer for that to just be a view button, but it should go to it. It should be its own screen. What happens? So actually, taking a step back. So this will be view, and if you had a custom concept, there'd be an edit button, right?
Correct.
I would think in all cases there should be a view button.
Yeah.
Both for seal concepts and custom concepts.
Correct.
It goes to its own page, which shows all the details of the concept, everything that would be in the full edit screen, but not editable, of course. and then it has a back button.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And the back button, of course, has to take you back to this dictionary, right? If you view a CL dictionary, a CL concept, of course, that you've imported, clicking back has to bring you to here, not to CL or something.
Okay. Okay, great. That was basically it. Yeah. So unless Darius has anything to add in particular in regards to the testing scenarios he laid out, I guess Cynthia can take one.
No, I was just going to say that I was pretty thorough with the testing scenarios for the first couple of headings, but then I ran out of time, and I think I was much less thorough in the later ones in that sheet. But so I had, and I also have not gone back and reviewed it, and my schedule has sort of gotten pretty crazy these days, so I'm not sure when I will have a chance to review it again. So basically, don't trust that I have written down all of the scenarios.
That's okay. I think what we will try and do is, like I said, go through some of the information on the talk threads, and I've actually set up a post ready to go for you know, to the community to ask for those who know more about OCL and can help us with end-to-end testing. So I think we will fill it as we go. I'd like to fill it this week and next week to get more feedback on potential test cases that we can have set up. And then from there, we can then review maybe at the next meeting, not the one coming on July 31st, but rather the week after, to say, do we have sufficient enough test cases to say it's good enough to go, and then we can proceed from there. So I think it's okay. We will just build off of what you have created. And thank you.
And it's okay to start testing already.
Yes, sure.
I mean, with these test cases, right? I don't think any of them are wrong.
I think it's just that what I'm referring to is where we make a cutoff and say, okay, we have enough test cases to assure us that it's okay. So we will leave that conversation or that dialogue open and start working on what you have already created, so that at least at the bare minimum, it is what you have created that we have tested against. And if there's anything else, it will come up as we are doing the testing. Would that work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think we have that. So in summary, we will use the what Darius has created as our baseline. And once we get somebody to assist us with the end-to-end testing, then the idea is that whatever they find, we will add to it. And then we will use the meeting, maybe if not next week, the week after, to review and see whether the bugs that are coming out are bugs that should be corrected in MVP, or they should be pushed to MVP plus. So
I don't think we need to wait for the meeting for that, right? So I think if we just make them float those up, and then we can have a discussion as to whether they're MVP or not. I don't want to waste some time.
Too much time.
One thing that I'm specifically, again, sort of concerned about was, and I can't remember, Darius, if it's on your list, because I thought your list was primarily individual functions, but just the idea that the synced dictionary matches the OCL dictionary. So all the way down to the OpenMRS. And every time I, do the download and look at the CSV file, there's just not enough information in the CSV file to know whether or not all the information is going to be there. And the only way to do it is to actually set up the sync to actually work. So, then look at the dictionary. So how did we decide on, is it Daniel that's going to do that? Who's going to take responsibility for that critical step?
Okay, so let me capture that part again. So we want to know how the sync matches with the CL dictionary when it's being downloaded.
Right. So the final. So if I do all this work and I built a collection in OCL, then the only way that OpenMRS folks are going to use that is right now is through a sync module, since the download button doesn't actually bring down very useful information.
Sure.
So I just want to make sure that it actually does do what it is supposed to be doing.
Okay. And what is the skill set that we need to be able to do that? Only just because Daniel is a bit swamped. So it may take a bit of time for us to get enough time for him to do it. So who else can we approach? What is the skills that this person must have?
We talked about it last week and when Daniel was on the call, and it was that you need to be able to set up a standalone version of
yes,
and load up the subscription module and
okay. So that means what in the post that I'm coming to make, I will also mention that point as part of the test, some of the things we want to test. And then let's see if we can get some others in the community to assist us with that.
Yep, that would be great.
And if I may add something small, Andrew, I think if we brought that file to have the right details, that would help, right? Could right now that file is only pulling out some concepts. It's not getting out everything.
You mean the download button?
Yes, the download. Yeah,
right.
The download
so I don't know what the purpose for that really was. And
for what it's worth, that download feature, so I should point out, is actually post MVP.
Right, so I don't care about that.
The idea that, right, the MVP is just being able to subscribe through the UI of the subscription module. Does the subscription module actually have a import button also? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Right. So so download and then import.
Well, I'm not sure how the download import would work because
you download from OCL, from the OCL application.
So let me just share my screen. Andrew, so it's just that sorry, I had been logged out. I gotten logged out. Yeah, the module has a URL and token entries. Yep. Yeah, so then after that, just import, and then
So that is doing a pull.
Yes.
Through the API, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So but I'm not sure what this zip file thing is, and it's not the download. It can't be the download file from OCL, because there's just not enough information in the download file to actually recreate the concepts in OpenMRS. So maybe there's another specification for some other kind of zip file.
So that download file was being created on the front end, not on the back end. So so I think at some point it kind of got out of the functionality got out of date. But also when I tried to use to download and then zip that file, this refused to import it. So that's why I reached out to Payne on Talk to see if
you should not, when you say generated on the front end, you mean literally you're constructing a zip file in the React JavaScript code?
A CSV file, yes.
It's not even a zip file. So I think they're out of sync, and this should not, whatever the download functionality that we have in the UI is not the same thing as what's supposed to be the import zip file thing. So let's just, I think we're wasting time trying to do that, at least during the MVP process. I'm very much focused on the first option, which is, does the sync work from the API?
Okay.
I agree. Just for what it's worth, though, the download from this UI ought to merely be just that download feature should exist already in the backend OCL, and this should just be a link to that. So if there's any custom code in the front end to generate the download, please get rid of it.
Okay.
If it's probably trivially straightforward to find the link it's supposed to link to in backend OCL.
Yeah.
So it's worth spending, half an hour fixing it.
Yeah.
But if it's any longer, I agree with Andy that just get rid of the button for now, and it'll be post MVP.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I just I went into OCL and I don't even see the versions. I don't see versions. I only see the head of my own dictionary.
I seem to understand.
I don't know, this weird stuff. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. I just re-logged in and refreshed, and now I can see it.
And I seem to understand that you can only download the latest version, or you can only subscribe to the latest version of
That's
a
right. You
collection.
can only download a prior one. That's the way it's looking right now. And you can, and it either is concepts or mappings.
That's very strange. Okay.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Are you talking about the OCL we are working on, or the older version?
I'm working on demo OpenMRS conceptlab.org.
Okay, so not here.
But anyway, that does, so that's interesting. So I think going back to, I think Darius's point was that the download link on the module UI should not be doing anything besides executing the download buttons that already exist in OCL.
Okay, cool.
And that is a bit interesting because it needs to do it twice, because there's a separate mapping file from a concept file. There are two downloads that occur from a released OCL dictionary.
Okay. Yes, I will. Yeah, I'm going to try to find those download links, and if it cannot be done, then I'll push that. So Cynthia. Okay.
Oh, sorry. And further, if there's a need for, if they have to download two things, then just treat that as get rid of the button for now. There should be, like, there needs to be a single zip download option. If we don't have a single zip download, then we don't want it.
Well, even OCL creates two separate zips.
Right. In that case, yeah, in that case, I don't want to see it in this new UI because that's not the usability we want, especially since the upload is for one.
I can't get the concepts to download from there anyway. Let me try it.
Yeah, neither can I. It's just giving me an error. Okay, so Cynthia. Oh yeah, sorry. I wanted to. I know it's okay. I'll ask Daniel for this one. It's okay.
Which other thing did you need?
No,
Right.
Yeah, I'll liaise with Daniel on this.
Okay. Okay. So I think we have a way forward. I wanted to meet you and your team members like individually, just aside from the product owners. When are you next available? Because I tried to schedule a meeting earlier this week, but unfortunately we were not able to meet. So when are you available to meet with your team members present so that we can discuss what has been shared with us already for the framework and then next steps moving forward? Hello? Lincoln?
Sorry. Mic check. My thing was muted. Yeah. Would it be possible to do that now, like immediately after this call?
Yes, it will be possible.
Yeah, I guess let's do that. I'm not sure we shall get a time when Alex and Dan are available.
Okay. So we can do that. If they are available, we can meet them. And then we sort that part out, and I think we should be good to go.
Okay, so yeah, so we are going to do that now, right?
Yes, we can do that. Are they here?
No, they
are they on the call?
No, they are not on the call, but I do not think we are going to get a suitable time when they will be on the call. So I think we can just discuss with you, Paul, and I, and then we'll convey whatever we agree.
That's fine. So if we don't have any questions for Darius or Andrew, then we can continue. Okay, so basically, we have these activities or this Excel sheet that Darius has shared for us to use as a framework for the testing. I'd like to understand from now, based on, okay, I guess you've asked your questions related to what you've been working on so far, but I'd like to have a situation where we take each or a few of the testing scenarios and then send feedback to you time and again. Currently on your side, how are you looking at your testing? Are you doing the testing and then you see the bug and then you fix it, or you are just waiting to receive at this time?
Yeah, so whenever we are like we do our own testing. So yeah, so from time to time we actually like try, create, edit, bring in
so do you have a test plan for your internal testing that can be compared to what has been created here by the product owner?
No, prior to this we did not have one.
I think it's important that you create one. Only, and just a word of advice, even moving forward, when you make any product for your clients, you need to have a testing plan to even protect yourself, because you don't want, that's also places where scope creep can even come in, believe it or not. Because if somebody is not seeing what they want to see and they can't articulate it, or even if they can, it's not how you understood it, there's a problem. So it's important that's why I've been insisting that you should have a structure or something that we can see, you can see, everybody knows where they stand. So if you have, even if you are testing 10 things, it's good to write those 10 things down and say, this is what we are testing. And then at least we can have an idea what you are testing, what are the gaps, so that we complete it and work together. Otherwise, it will just be, as you can see, it is just going to be, oh, you didn't do this, oh, you didn't do that, and it's never ending.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes, we do.
So you will need to, since you are the lead, you will need to look at what are the key things based on the requirements and even what has been shared with us here today. What are the key things you are going to work on, and start working on that, and then send us maybe if you want to send us feedback, or we can look at it together. You know, you say, this is what I did, and then you show me, and I'll be like, okay, based on my limited knowledge of how it's supposed to work. And then by the time we meet the product owners, it's actually bug free. What do you think?
Yes, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think,
when can we get something written or set up?
Okay, so I would suggest that we do this. We are going to take time and look through all the scenarios that Darius has laid out, and then compare those to the initial doc. And if there's anything missing, we shall add it. Or like suggest changes in the comments, and that should be done, I guess, by the end of this week.
Let's do it by, let's make sure we can do it by Thursday, tomorrow. What is it? Today is Wednesday already.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so let's make sure that by the end of the week, Friday, I'd like to see this comparison. Whether you are going to create a second tab on this Excel sheet, so that we can see what you are doing, what you have captured as the things you are fixing, and what we are expecting to have been fixed via what Darius has created.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
You need to put it in writing. Otherwise, it's going to come to the end where people are not, the product owner will not sign off because he hasn't seen, it just keeps on, as you can see, it's been never ending. Okay? So please put it in writing. I'm expecting a tab on the Excel sheet of the use cases that you are looking to test or the scenarios you are looking to test. And then we can have a conversation about what do they mean and all those things and then move forward on that.
Okay.
So that Monday we are ready to go.
All right.
I hope that makes sense.
It does, yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions or do you have any comments?
Sorry, I'm slightly unclear. Are you suggesting they should have a parallel test plan that is of the same format, but other things they would test, or
No.
the next phase of once they carry out those, based on those scenarios, what are the findings? Or
So
something?
yeah, that's a good question. I just wanted to make sure that, well, I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to keep track of what they are saying. They are doing a test. They are testing the application. They are doing it internally and fixing it as they go. And then my question to them was, okay, but if you are testing it internally, what use cases or what scenarios are you testing against? Is it that you are doing an exploratory where you are just testing and then, oh, it doesn't work and you fix it? Or how is it? Well, yeah, what is it that you are doing? So I was trying to figure out or try to align whatever it was that they were doing with what has been created here. If we feel that that's not the best approach, then the other way is to say, okay, from now on, you are going to fix what has been created here, and you are going to give us a status report either through the Jira board or this Excel sheet on how far you have gone and if it's completed, so that somebody can come and actually test what the scenarios that have been created.
Okay, so yeah, so
Darius, did I answer your question? Oh.
Sorry, I was on mute. I think, sort of, I guess I'm a little unclear on still the distinction between a list of work to do and a list of things to test and retest to make sure there are no regressions or whatever. Like,
I understand what you are saying.
it sounds like, as you've been talking about it, it sounds sometimes like you're talking about a list of work that must all be completed, and we're going to track the progress of these items. And sometimes it's the strategy.
The testing strategy, yeah. Okay. I think at the end of the day, we need to.
Okay, so if I may jump in and suggest something, I think it's unfortunate that to date we've not had such a plan, but looking at the scenarios that Darius laid out, I think most of them are pretty exhaustive. So I think a good compromise would be to run through these and make sure that there is nothing that is missing, and then use these very same scenarios to do the testing going forward. In addition to forwarding them to the community to use as well.
Correct. So, okay. So what we can do is we can share this Excel sheet. I need to clean it up a bit also and make it look pretty. And then we can put test 1, test 2, test 3 in the columns, and then also add comments, the comment section, and then we can share it with the community. I have a post that I was actually developing this afternoon requesting for team members or community members to join the testing, and how, excuse me, how they could do that. So I'll include the Excel sheet there, and then we'll circulate it within the community. In the background, though, I am trying to identify, aside from Ellen, who else can do the end-to-end testing. So that's what I can say for now.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I believe that's okay on our part.
Okay.
Thanks.
Darius, is that okay?
I'm sure, yeah, it is. And I'm sure you know this, but obviously that spreadsheet, I just wrote down the scenarios, but of course that could also be the place if some columns get added to track who has tested and signed off, what bugs they found, and so forth. But as you said, you need to clean it up some, and I assume that means adding that kind of structure.
Yes. Yes. So I think that's okay. I'll take that. I'll set it up like that, and then on when you guys finish, when we meet, what time do you want to meet on Friday, or are we gonna meet again?
I don't think a meeting is necessary, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think we can just communicate on top.
That's fine. So I'll just put my comments on top.
Okay.
As we go along.
Okay.
And then I'll create those structures, and then we take it from there.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's give it a try, and then next week we review and see how far we've gone.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hold on.